All of those goals, hopes, and dreams that you had aren't going to come true. Maybe you're putting in a lot of work to actualize these goals, but you're not actually taking an honest look at what it is that you're doing. You're not cultivating self-awareness by not auditing your subconscious patterns. This can hold you back in life in ways that you can't even see. That's why I made this video. It's to help illuminate those unseen patterns in your life that sabotage you. This is Jonathan, and I'm at Tokati Falls today in Oregon. So basically what I'm talking about here is the ability to predict what is likely to happen based off of what has happened in the past. Say if you're going on a first date, you're talking to them, you're asking them about their family, they're asking you, I don't know, what your favorite Netflix show is or whatever, and you're getting to know this person. They're gonna tell you a bunch of stuff about themselves, but what you're not gonna learn about them is their actual patterns, how they actually are as a person. What I'm talking about here is having a blind spot. Myself, for example, I like to believe that every single book I buy off of Amazon, I'm going to read, but that's just not how I function. And it took me a while to figure out the value I was actually getting from these books was just buying them. I was getting a dopamine spike from buying them, feeling excited that I was going to read these books, get to a better future with them, but that was just a fantasy. The pattern was just, I hear about this book, I get excited about the book, I buy the book, that makes me feel nice. The book arrives, I get excited about the package, open it up, look at the book, ooh, yeah, the cover's so colorful. Then I put it on my shelf, and I don't read the book. Maybe you have patterns like this in your life that you can relate to as well. Now, I'll tell you another example. It was recently at an event. We were setting up all these cameras. I said this to my coworker. I told him, hey, this is what's likely gonna happen. We're gonna get there 30 minutes before this event starts, and we're just gonna make everything work. He laughed, like, oh yeah, I know, that happened like every other time in the past, but not this time. We'll be early, we'll 4 hours early. Guess what happened? 30 minutes before the event happened again. History repeats itself. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So what we had to do was make a rule for ourselves. Look, if you don't leave the house 4 hours before the event, you're screwed. That's the new goal. It's not to leave quote unquote 2 hours before, it's now 4 hours. What that means is you have to be ready actually 30 minutes before that 4 hour chunk, because it takes some time to get ready. And inevitably, especially when doing filmmaking or video in this case, everything's gonna take 6 times longer than you think it is. There's so many little components that you may have forgotten you have to do. And when you're in a flow state, you can take care of all these things. Flow state's not good for memory. You're not really remembering all the stuff that you had to do to make the event work. So when you're in the planning process, you're gonna leave a lot of pieces of information out. It's important to take notes when you go to your planning process. You can look at your notes and be like, oh yeah, I should add that to my SOP, so to speak. But it's also important to look at your pattern. Look at those things that you are actually doing versus how you may feel like might happen. This reminds me of this experiment that my social psych professor did in college, where he had a jar full of cookies in his house. His wife and daughter were there. He knew he was going to share these cookies with his wife and his daughter, and he counted every single cookie ahead of time. He didn't tell his daughter and wife that he counted the cookies, but he knew how many cookies were in that jar. His wife and daughter throughout the day would occasionally eat a cookie. He told them not to eat too many, and then by the end of the day, the cookies were gone. And he asked his daughter first, daughter, how many cookies did you eat? She guessed, oh, I don't know, I think I ate 5. Then he asked his wife, how many cookies did you eat? She's like, oh, 3. I ate 3 cookies. He was actually counting how many cookies his wife and daughter ate. What he found was they were way off, right? The wife ate like 7, even though she guessed 3. The daughter guessed 5 and she ate 7. We can laugh at these people, but really we're doing that. And we all have blind spots. We're all doing our version of those miscounting the cookies thing, because our memories aren't very objective a lot of times, and we're not motivated to correct a lot of the blind spots that we have. If you have a goal, say you start a business or you're trying to manage a bunch of people or even a workout, you're gonna have to audit the work that you're actually doing. How many reps are you putting in? What are the various jobs that everybody on your team is working on, and what has gotten done or what has happened in the past, so you can better predict the future? You're gonna have to audit all of this, because if you don't, it's just left to speculation. And as we learned from the cookie experiment, speculation usually isn't very reliable. Now, what I challenge you to do in this video is ask yourself, where am I doing this? Because ultimately, that's what makes us who we are. You may think you're a good person, but do you have the habits that make you a good person? Are you conditioned to take right action when the circumstances call for it. If you're not putting yourself to the test and you're not doing that audit, you have no idea. So it's very important to figure out what it is that's going on in your subconscious so that you can better craft your personality, craft your behavior, craft your subconscious to do the right things, and therefore you can be more effective. This is called training. But without auditing, you can't train yourself. It's could versus would, right? This trip. Many of you could come to Oregon. You could come to see this waterfall. Very easily you could, but will you? Are you going to actually come here? That's the idea of could versus would. That's a subconscious pattern running through your brain. You may get off to the fantasy of thinking, oh, someday I'm going to travel, or someday I'm going to take the boot camp, or someday I'm going to read the book. And there's so many things in your life that are like this. I challenge you to find a pattern like this within yourself. If something that you're doing daily is probably the best thing. Maybe you write a little field report at the end of the night if you're doing the socializing thing, or at the end of every day, maybe do an assessment of what you did well that day, not so well, what you can do better in the future. And then over time, you're going to start to see those patterns, and then you can fix the pattern by creating a new rule. For example, maybe you're trying to fix a pattern of, I don't like to eat as soon as I get home, right? So instead of eating as soon as you get home, instead what you can do, you feel compelled to reach for the refrigerator. Instead, replace that with a different pattern. Maybe on the refrigerator, you duct tape a book to the refrigerator. And then when you feel compelled to reach for the refrigerator, you see that book and it reminds you, oh crap. You pick up the book and you read one page, put the book back, and then maybe you don't feel hungry after reading. Try to think of your life in systems, and one of the key tenets of this company is learning how to audit. Thinking of your life as a business or a system, some sort of video game where you're trying to maximize your stats, or you're dedicating your XP to acquiring certain skills that can help you get more money while you fight bad guys, or more experience points more quickly. You want to think of your life as a machine, and you want to fine tune it so that you can make better decisions, prioritize, and be more effective at leveraging the energy that will get you towards your desired outcomes. In order to do that, you have to develop self-awareness. You have to learn how to audit your life, expose those unconscious patterns, use them to make predictions, or create new rules for yourself to get you to do the proper things that you need to do. I encourage you to discover those patterns. Please share them below in the comments if you want some feedback. Thank you for watching this video. If you like my channel, please hit that subscribe button or the little notification bell. That way, when a new video comes out, we can let you know right away, and I can get more of this life-changing content to you as quickly as possible, because that's what this channel is about. I'm trying to start a movement to break people out of this derp haze, break you out of the matrix, and get you actualizing the goals you want to actualize and living a fulfilling life you want to live. And I want you to help more people too. If you want to support me in this mission, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching and have a good night. Peace.